What if the stories we know, the tales that make our skin crawl and hearts race, are merely fragments of a far more terrifying truth? What if the darkness of Dracula's legend and Viktoria's mysterious tale were intertwined, their origins rooted in the very fears that define us? Let's take a journey into the shadows and uncover the secrets that history has tried to bury. The Carpathian Mountains loom large, their jagged peaks piercing a sky perpetually shrouded in mist. It is here, in the heart of Transylvania, that Vlad the Impaler, better known as Vlad the Impaler, was born in 1431. His story is one of blood, betrayal, and a thirst for vengeance that knew no bounds. But what most don't know is how this fearsome ruler's legend connects with the enigmatic Viktoria, a name whispered in hushed tones throughout Eastern European folklore. To understand the darkness of Vlad, you must first understand his name, Dracula. Derived from Dracula, it means son of the dragon or son of the devil. His father, Vlad Dracula, was a member of the Order of the Dragon, a chivalric order sworn to defend Christianity against the Ottoman Turks. But young Vlad's life was far from noble. As a boy, he and his brother Rodu were handed over to the Ottomans as political hostages, a brutal initiation into the treachery of his time. Viktoria's story begins in a much different setting, yet equally shadowed by death. In a quiet village near the borders of Hungary, Viktoria was said to have been born under an eclipse, a celestial omen that marked her as cursed. Her beauty was otherworldly, but the whispers surrounding her family's past were even more haunting. They spoke of a lineage entwined with ancient rites, secret pacts, and a chilling connection to the undead. While Vlad grew up in captivity, honing his hatred and sharpening his cunning, Viktoria's childhood was steeped in mystery. She was known for her fascination with the macabre, often found in cemeteries at twilight, speaking softly to the graves. Villagers claimed she had visions of things no one else could see. Her mother, a healer or, as some called her, a witch, was said to practice rituals that drew on the power of blood. It was in these rituals that the stories of Viktoria and Dracula begin to intertwine. By the time Vlad escaped Ottoman captivity and reclaimed his father's throne, he was no longer the boy who had been betrayed. He was a man forged in fire, his heart as cold as the steel of the sword he wielded. His reign was defined by terror, a gruesome strategy of impalement that served not just as punishment but as a psychological weapon. Entire forests of impaled bodies were left as warnings to his enemies. Yet, in the shadow of his rule, rumors persisted of his obsession with immortality. Some claimed he drank the blood of his enemies, not for sustenance but for power. As Viktoria matured, the villagers' unease grew into outright fear. Strange occurrences followed in her wake. Candles would extinguish themselves in her presence, mirrors would crack without explanation, and animals, even the fiercest guard dogs, would cower as she passed. Her dreams, when shared, spoke of events that had not yet happened but inevitably came to pass. One account tells of a widow who approached Viktoria in desperation, seeking her help to locate a lost child. Viktoria's eyes darkened as she whispered a chilling truth. The child would be found in the nearby woods, lifeless, beneath a twisted oak. When the villagers followed her instructions, they found the child exactly as she had described, down to the blood-red scarf tangled in the branches above. Such stories spread quickly, painting Viktoria as both seer and harbinger, a figure who straddled the line between savior and curse. Viktoria's life took a darker turn as she grew older. Her mother's rituals became more secretive, and strange visitors began appearing at their home, travelers cloaked in black, speaking in archaic tongues. It is said that one night, Viktoria herself partook in a ritual that changed her forever. The ceremony involved a chalice filled with blood, a symbol of life and death, and incantations invoking protection against the unholy. But the outcome was far from protective. From that night on, Viktoria's presence seemed to draw misfortune. Crops failed, livestock perished, and the village began to shrink away from her. The paths of Vlad and Viktoria might never have crossed, but their legends began to echo one another. Vlad's name became synonymous with vampirism not just because of Bram Stoker's novel centuries later, but because of the very real fear he inspired in his enemies. His castle, Poenari, was said to be haunted by the screams of those he had impaled. His death, too, was shrouded in mystery. Some say he was killed in battle, others that he was betrayed. Yet his body was never found. A chilling possibility emerged: could Vlad have achieved the immortality he sought? Similarly, Viktoria's story ended abruptly, though her legacy endured. The villagers, desperate to rid themselves of her curse, stormed her home one stormy night. What they found chilled them to their cores. Viktoria's body lay lifeless, yet untouched by decay. Her mother, accused of witchcraft, screamed curses upon the mob as they burned their home to the ground. In the ashes, a single relic was found, a blood-stained chalice, still warm to the touch. Viktoria's body was buried at a crossroads, a traditional method to trap restless spirits. Yet her grave became a site of strange occurrences, lights flickering in the distance, shadows moving where none should be. And so the stories of Viktoria and Dracula merged into the folklore of Eastern Europe. Both became symbols of fear, power, and the thin line between the mortal and the immortal. Was Viktoria a victim of superstition, or was she truly something more? Did Vlad the Impaler's lust for power extend beyond the grave, giving rise to the myth of Dracula? These questions linger, unanswered, like whispers in the night. Even today, their legends refuse to rest. Vlad's castle stands as a haunting reminder of his brutality, while Viktoria's name surfaces in obscure texts and whispered tales. Their stories captivate us because they speak to something primal within us, a fear of death, a yearning for power, and the eternal question of what lies beyond the veil. As you ponder these intertwined tales, ask yourself, what truths do we dismiss as mere legends? And what might we discover if we dared to look closer, into the shadows where history and myth collide? Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more content. Until next time.